everyone. Welcome everyone back to your best podcast in subtropical Philippines. Joining you live, Mr. Sub Europe, Baguio Boy, Benguet Boy, Man of the Hour, sabi ni Tito Boy Abunda. Shout out kay Tito Boy and kay Ma'am Lloyda Lewis and RC Munoz. Maraming mga great people, amazing people na na-meet natin over the past days. All of them say, Richard, okay ka lang? Are you okay? How are you doing? Mga ganun, like, marami mga concerns sa atin. Don't worry. I'm enjoying my Siargao pearls and looking forward. And by the way, shout out to Mayor of Isabela, si Ma'am City. Thank you so much for your understanding and giving benefit of the doubt when I explain yung context. So basically, of course, kasama natin si Chris San. Thank you, Chris, bro, for making time. Just to be clear, naka-misunderstand with Justice Carpio because I was working until 5 a.m. I said, tomorrow pwede tayo mag-meet, assuming he'll think night ko pinay. Pero Justice Carpio being a military time, he thought on Sunday. So, nagkaroon ng misunderstanding. So we're not having Justice Carpio, but mamaya I'll play a short clip from the highlights of intervention by former ICC Judge Raul, Dr. Raul, Professor Pangalangan, no? Just for people to understand the basics na hindi na-kidnap po, hindi rendition ang nangyari. But before that, let me thank Chris. Thank you, brother, for coming here. And baka ma-cancel ka, bro. Baka maging persona non grata ka rin. In Siargao.
All I have to say is this, when I saw what happened to you on social media, nagulat talaga ako, and I wanted to know nga kung you were willing to talk about it or is this the elephant in the room? And
No,
I think naman
I'm
talaga
not
that,
talking about it. I mean, I'm
yeah.
juicing it, right?
As a matter of fact, I think nga kailangan mo i-address yan, and I'd be happy to, on behalf of the people watching tonight and everyone here, for you to address the big elephant in the room.
No. So just to be clear, no, this is my interview with Becky Anderson. And I don't know if people know, when you do interview with CNN, it's on Cisco. You don't even see your host. There's just a voice there. You have 2 minutes to explain everything, right? I'm a fast talker, right? And
Yep.
being a fast talker, I try to throw a lot of information in a very short period of time, right? So, tinanong bigla ni Becky Anderson sa akin, why do you think malakas pa rin yung support kay Digong? So, I started talking about the historical injustices and marginalization of Mindanao. At sabi ko, pinabayaan ng Mindanao so much so that ito yung gap. So some parts of the Philippines, I started already with parts, referring to Benguet province where I come from. We have an HDI of between 0.8 to 0.9, which is comparable to Croatia, which is technically in Southern Europe, and Chile, which is one of the most developed. And then, hindi ko inulit na lang yung word na parts ulit because that was like my 12th interview. I assume when I said parts, it's parts. And I said, if you go to Mindanao, there are going to be provinces there na ang level ng HDI nila is comparable to Sub-Saharan Africa. Now, what happened is that it exploded because mukhang marami may racism sa Africa. And by the way, just to be clear, if you technically look at it, Cameroon, Kenya, a lot of these countries, Ghana, have medium range Human Development Index, which is comparable to majority of provinces in Mindanao. Then unfortunately, may mga probinsya tayo dahil sa giyera, etc., na even low HDI. So these are facts. And actually, funnily, napansin ko, maraming nag-google, ano ba tong HDI na ito? Is that like an STD or something? No, it's Human Development Index, which is based on life expectancy. So it takes into consideration your healthcare. It looks at your education attainment, hanggang kailan ka nag-aral, ganyan. And also your income level. So hindi lang GDP or tinitignan nila. Just to be clear also, there are different versions of HDI. There's a Gini coefficient, inequality. So you can see, it's a very technical one. So nung nagsalita yung mga kaibigan ko, yes, next time, in 30 seconds, paki-explain barangay by barangay, different HDI and all. So I think my mistake there was, I underestimated because my audience was global. Siyempre, I had to make those comparisons para ma-appreciate ng global audience. But of course, hindi ko, siguro in that split second, hindi ko na-appreciate na there are gonna be people who will splice that part out and make it look bad na parang I'm like this elitist guy, whatever. When in fact, I went to Marawi when there was destruction in Marawi. I am with people of Mindanao. I've been to Jensan, beautiful. I was in Siargao not long ago, beautiful. No one has to educate me about Mindanao. I know about Mindanao. I've been to North Korea. I've been to Middle East. I've been to Greenland. Like, I'm one of the most traveled guys, and I'm not saying this as a yabang. I did it as a journalist. I did it as a writer, as a specialist on development issues and political science. So nung sinakyan ng ibang tao, I called out JC Punong Bayan, sinasakyan ng mga ibang dilawan, nakita ko Popoy de Vera, nakita ko Malutikia. So I went on war mode. like attacking all my former professor, Clarita Carlos. So it was a bit crazy and disappointing. But I saw it coming, brother. I had like 24 international interviews, like three BBC alone, two CNN, Al Jazeera, Channel 4, first time. I never did Channel 4 in UK. I had one or two interviews with them, Monocle. So there were like 24 interviews within the span of 2 days. So sabi ko, titirahin talaga ako kasi I really drove home the point na itong ICC issue na to was very, very important. So just to remind, bro, I know you used to do more coaching and Bitcoin and all during Duterte's time, and I don't mean it in an offensive way. I'm just saying, I've been doing this for the past 10 years, and it was worse during Duterte's time. But having
Okay.
said that, I am getting death threats right and left. My persona non grata, pero non-binding naman to resolution in Isabela. Someone in Cotabato was pushing for it. Someone in, I don't know, Cagayan de Oro was challenging me to a debate. Like, you seriously want to debate with me? So, I just got sad because, you know, bro, actually, parang medyo lumabas na may pagka-racist din yung ibang kaibigan natin. Like, yung mga videos nakita ko, like, they show as if Africa is, like, primitive. It's not. Africa is very well developed. Have you been to like Cape Town,
Okay.
Johannesburg? Have you
Yeah.
been to even Abuja or some of the cities? So anyway, the whole story is maybe next time I'll just not put certain words together because unfortunately it looks like there's too much sensitivity out there. And unfortunately, talaga nakalatag yung mga troll farms to twist my words and everything I say. But having said that, bro, yes, it is what it is. And looking forward now, once mag-die down ito, I look forward to go to Mindanao and promote the beauty of Mindanao because Mindanao is part of my heart and part of the Philippines. Okay na ba? Okay na ba yung sagot ko, bro? Was that good?
You know what?
Pasado?
It's actually good because karamihan nga ng ating mga tao very emotional and hindi nila maintindihan siguro yung konteksto ng ano sinasabi mo. Kaya mabuti na rin na napaliwanag mo siya ngayon. Pero siguro ang warning ko lang sa lahat ng mga nanonood at yung mga nakakakita ng mga ganitong mga headlines is they have to see the context. Kasi if you think about it, yung rage o yung galit ng mga tao is based on their own biases and their own prejudices. 'Di ba? So yun eh. Kasi kung tama naman, kung yung pagkabanggit mo nga is it's really just about a way to be able to explain yung HDI, yung Human Development Index, and it has nothing to do with saying na parang it's not meant to be derogatory. Pag nilabas silang derogatory, that's how they see it. Eh. So it's their own prejudice that reflects on them. Pero yun na nga lang, sana
Pero
talaga
rage
mag-ingat yung
bait
mga
yun eh.
tao.
Sorry bro, I'm cutting it. There was rage bait. I called out Philippine Star. It's good they took it down. I mean, ano, ang bastos kasi nangyari bro eh. They would put pictures of me. Siyempre, mukhang konyo, di ba? Tapos naka-ilustrado in like Manila House. I mean, you can see exactly what's going on, right? To make it look, I'm this schmuck konyo guy looking down at the Mindanao people. That looked to me like black propaganda, bro. Right?
Yeah.
Actually, if you look at my actual interview, yung dark yung under eyes ko, I look really tired and I was talking this very serious issue and etc. But no, talagang ano yan, genus out nila yan. Ako naman, makapal ang mukha ako. Sabi ko, since mukhang tayo na kami ni Kitty Duterte in terms of trending analytics, I was told by people, go ahead. So I did like crazy 20 million, 30 million views na tayo over the past 3-4 days. Not only explaining this, but also talking about important issues like ICC, which will be discussed. So sabi ko, if the wave is coming, I'm gonna just swim with it because I'm not gonna just go away and let them make me a punching bag. I'm not gonna allow them to do that. For 6 years during Duterte administration, I got harassed like hell. I got death threats. I got legally harassed. And I said, if now I'm gonna withdraw, forget about it. I'm gonna go for it. But again, the lesson I learned is I have an international platform. I'm being interviewed all around the world. And I know if you're a Mindanao and you want that guy, that Filipino guy who's speaking for the country, to put your place in the best light. So let me assure my Mindanao brothers and sisters, even though educational yung HDN and all, I will never ever again, right? I'll try my best, never again, never ever again to say something that could come off to be hurtful or derogatory. I know I was right, factually speaking, because you can look at HDI of Ghana, Cameroon, Kenya, and you look at South Africa, comparable. But as I understand, it's not about facts anymore, right? It's not about technicalities. It's about emotions, it's about feelings. It's about stereotypes. That's absolutely true.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of stereotypes on Mindanao. So in that, yun ang lesson ko na lang doon na next
Yeah.
time, be very careful about those things. Kasi napansin talaga natin na dahil sa marginalization, historical injustice sa ating mga kababayan na Mindanaoan, talaga there's that kind of sensitivity. So yes, I will be extra sensitive next time. And again, my sincere apologies for the inadvertent hurt my like a side comment lang, right? In a 2 minutes ICC related show. But I'll be extra careful with that, and how I wish I was more of a Superman and even sharper than I have been in my 24-25 interviews over the past few days on the ICC issue. So maraming salamat for everyone who bothered to actually check my clarificatory videos, reels, etc. What? Right. So I'm just talking. Sorry, Chris. My mom said I'm talking too much. I should let you talk. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay kasi this is the issues about you eh. So it's important that you're able to explain it properly, and it's good to know that at least 'di ba you're apologetic for the error or the way it was perceived, kasi hindi naman ang issue natin dito ay yung facts. The facts remain the same. It's just the perception is where the problem lies, and how media and social media and troll armies can sensationalize and exploit and capitalize issues like this to be able to destroy somebody's character. So yun. Pero ang sinasabi ng mga tao dito pala, you have to speak a little bit slower daw. Mukhang marami ka ata nainom na kape, or talagang sobrang excited kang mapag-usapan tong bagay na to.
Bro, I'm happy. I'm happy because let's talk about this. Finally, bro. I mean, I know I'm supposed to be not biased, but I am biased in favor of human rights. I'm biased in favor of justice. I want to ask you, brother, since we broke down Quadcom together, we broke down Graceful hearing together. What are your first thoughts seeing Duterte there? Basically, that's it. In Den Haag, and natauhan pa yung kanyang mga lawyers. Sarang,
Yeah.
they look like amateurs, right?
Yep.
Kinain sila ng buhay.
Pare, alam mo, it was such a surreal moment to see that. And honestly, it's weird kasi naiyak ako ng konti. I got emotional, to be honest with you. And I got emotional because na-realize ko talaga na ito na nga meron na tayong pagkakataon na mabigay ang hustisya do sa mga naging biktima. Kasi parang nakakalimutan ng mga sumusuporta kay Duterte na kailangan nga natin ng due process. At swerte nga ni Duterte, binibigyan siya ng due process. Yung pagpunta niya sa Hague at yung hearing na yan at yung trial na yan is exactly what they want, due process. And ito ang isang bagay na hindi niya binigay sa kanyang mga biktima. At alam mo, yun yung nakapagtataka sa akin is bakit pinagsasabi ng mga Duterte supporters na hindi daw siya nabibigyan ng due process, wala saan daw yung kanyang rights. Pero in essence, I think nakalimutan nila na yung ICC, wala pa namang verdict wala pang judgment. Ito pa lang ay hearing. So, ano ba yun? Hinusgaan na ba nila si Duterte at pinalalabas na ba nila na kinulong na talaga to? Hindi. He's actually in temporary detention based on the fact that there's a hearing and a trial that's going to take place. Ganun lang yon. Tulad ng ginawa nila nung panahon nila, nung presidente si Duterte kay De Lima. 'Di ba? Grabe 'yon, 7 years. You're hearing a made-up case with fabricated evidence and fraudulent information. Tapos 7 years nakakulong. Ito, hopefully it'll be faster for him. I'd like it to be faster. Ayokong mamatay si Duterte. Gusto kong harapin niya to para madepensahan din niya sarili niya. At malaman natin lahat kung guilty ba siya o innocent. Yun lang yun. Wala pang judgment, guys. So, chill lang yung mga Duterte supporters. Pinalalabas yun na parang, nahusga na to at kinulong na diba? That's why they're reacting the way they are But in
Can I
reality,
disagree with you, bro?
it's due process.
Can I disagree with you in a certain technical sense?
Absolutely.
Actually, the fact that the next hearing, pre-trial hearing, will be September ba,
Yep.
is actually interesting because based on precedents, and I'll go to former Judge Pangalangan's explanation na hindi actually kidnapping at saka rendition yan as the term used by Medialdia. Usually, bro, within 4 to 6 weeks, magsa-start na dapat yung pre-trial. September is like 4 or 5 months away from now. So ang basa ng maraming legal expert is because ang bigat daw ng mga krimen niya. And actually, historically, 2 to 3 years is the fastest that the trial could happen. So, brother, this could go for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, bro. I mean, Duterte could basically spend the rest of his life there in the trial. That's crazy.
Pero But I don't think we disagree naman on the same points here. And I understand that it will take a long time. Yun na nga, look at the Limas case that took 7 years. And that's based on ano nga, on planted evidence and planted witnesses, di ba? So now Duterte's getting the due process na matino, okay? And there's actual substantial concrete evidence to nail him to for the crimes he committed. But at least he'll have a chance to defend himself in the proper forum. Kaya yun lang sa akin. And well, ako talaga taking 6, 7, 8 years is long, and I wish it would be shorter for also our country. Mas gusto kong magkaroon to ng hatol ng mas maaga para magkaroon na tayo ng some sort of a closure. Of course, it's not going to be a clean closure. Of course, there's going to be rallies, and people are still going to go on the streets at magpoprotesta sila. That's all part of it. I accept all of that. Pero if it is what it is at this point. And sa totoo lang, medyo deserve din ni Duterte tong napupunta sa kanya ngayon dahil sa mga nagawa niyang kalokohan eh. Marami siya nagawang kalokohan kaya hindi ko maintindihan yung mga sumusuporta kay Duterte, nagbubulag-bulagan sila at talagang pinipili nilang wag makita yung mga maling nagawa ni Duterte. Pinipili nila yun. That's a conscious decision to turn a blind eye on everything he did wrong and abusive.
Well, I felt the same thing with people who were unwilling to listen to any of my explanation or context. Parang may mga tao talaga, they just want to hate you because you're critical of Duterte or you're saying something that seems to critical of Duterte. Kaya at some point I said, wag na, di na ako mag-clarify, bahala na kayo dyan. If you just hate me because you're pro-Duterte, bahala kayo sa buhay nyo. And if you want to justify the EJ case, I mean our scripture is very clear on that. He who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both an abomination to the Lord. So, if you want to go even, to the scripture, let's go. Let's talk about this. But going back to this, bro, I was not disagreeing with you, disagreeing in a sense. I was saying like in a sense that actually for DDS not magpanic ka because mukhang mabigat talagang kaso ni Digong. And more importantly, it looks like hindi matino yung team niya. Now, he has a couple of high-level lawyers hired. I think there's like an Oxbridge guy. I saw in his panel, there were like British people there. I think there was one Israeli also lawyer there. But the main one was Medialdia. And my goodness, brother, you want to talk about that? Like, did Medialdia think this is like some court in like, ingat na ako, I won't say anything about you saw almost what I said, right? Like, okay, like, hindi na ako magsalita. Basta, akala nila nasa poder pa rin sila, they could get away with drama and all. This is the very Duterte that in Hong Kong was rallying the crowd and yabang and all of that. And then now, he cannot even say what is his name, kailan siya pinanak, power effect, biglang si Medialdia, hindi makatayo, has to sit down, yung madramang ganon. And they were just shut down immediately, right? By the judge. Shut down.
Yeah, and with the new lawyers that are coming in, you know what surprises me? Wow, ang daming pera ni Digong para maka-afford ng mga lawyers. Ang British lawyer nga, di ba? Nung
Kaya daw nag-Hong
papasok
Kong.
niya.
Bro, what do you know about that? Kaya nga daw nag-Hong Kong kasi...
Well, yeah, yung
connection. You want to talk about that?
Well, for me right now kasi talaga, I think he overestimated his value to mainland China and to the Chinese government. And dun niya na-realize na, shoots, wala siyang lusot. Ang problema, kailangan na siyang bumalik. Ayan, nakaabang na yung PNP doon. At ang dami nga talagang nagugulat doon. Alam mo, funny by the way, nung nangyari yung pag-arrest sa kanya, Richard, I was just about to upload a video that I did talking about this whole rumor about the ICC arrest, and I was saying, guys, huwag tayong maniwala sa mga rumor until kahit na reliable source, ilang beses natin narinig yan, I never uploaded it because the very next day, ayun na nga, totoo ngang na-arrest. Nagulat ako yung araw na yun. Malala talaga. And until now, we're seeing the troll army completely activated in full force. Talagang trying
oh my God, brother, it's
narrative.
so bad. But you see, Pinoy ako vlog, all of us are being targeted like crazy, bro. The same, I mean, we're feeling it like as it's 2016, 17. All in ang troll operations. Wala masyado on the ground, no? Wala pa silang ETSA, people power, mga charot nilang ganyan. But online, it's crazy. Can I add something on this before I go to Bato and also Harry Roque? Very important. Harry Roque, we have to talk about him shortly. I want to go back to this. Actually, brother, based on my conversation with Senator Trillanes, this is on the record version pa. Wala pa yung mga off the record na discussions I'm having. It looks like pumalpak yung mga spies ni Digong sa PNP because first he was relying on Interpol and China to tell him if may warrant of arrest. Sabi ng Interpol and China, actually wala kasi they were waiting for something to come out on their bulletin. There's some technical term for that. Yung pala, ICC only sent that notice on the bulletin only to the Philippine PNP.
Aha.
Right? So, hindi na sniff out ng Chinese side of the equation. And then, eto bro, this is when you shouldn't underestimate BBM. There is a high suspicion infiltrated yung ranks ni Digong. So there were people who spread this complacent message na pare, safe na safe ka, there's nothing here. So actually bro, for all we know, General Torre is just the face of this. Behind the scenes, there's like KGB, like next level James Bond stuff that happened that made Duterte so confident to fly straight to Naiya because he had an option to fly straight to Davao with a private jet or I don't know, go to Cebu and then Davao. And
Right.
if pag nag-Davao siya, tapos na, hindi mo na makuha yan. Tapos na, end of the world na, siege na yan. So, my sense, bro, is nagkaroon ng counterintelligence and infiltration there and he got false information. Kaya na-trap siya. That was an entrapment that happened to him. And with Panelo types and all, yung mga ganyang clown show, he really didn't have a good team. Aren't you surprised with all the supposed money they have to hire all of those top lawyers and everything? But ang napaka tier 3, tier 4, yung mga tao na like Panelo,
Well,
Medialdia, Harry.
Well, alam mo naman kasi pag nakita mo naman talaga yung mga close-in personnel ng mga Duterte, honestly, they're not the brightest people, unfortunately. I don't mean that in a bad sense. I just mean that they're not. You could get more sharper, people to be part of your team or advisors. Not only that, may mga rumors nga na lumalabas, 'di ba, na sino daw yung parang insider na either naging traidor daw kay Duterte o kaya nagbigay nga ng maling information, and one of the names that's coming out right now is si Bongo. How true is that? I don't know, pero
I
it's
don't want to say anything
interesting.
about Bongo. He's #1 in the surveys now, Dow. So, it's
Well,
interesting.
again, that's a statistical tie with the Tulfo. So we will find out on election day. So,
Maybe we want to talk about Bongo because, before I go to Harry Roque and Bato, nasaan si Bato, di ba? Before I go to Harry Roque and Bato, actually, the other interesting thing for me, brother, here is, hindi klaro yung line of succession, di ba? So, Sarah flew right away to Hague to show like, ako yung anak niya, ako yung
yep.
vice-presidente. But notice, puro mga pictures, makikita mo, it's like Bongo talking to Digong, si Bongo yung shell shock sa NAIA, trying to get into Villamor. Bongo now is #1 in the surveys. He has enough. So actually, parang this is the reenactment. I don't know if you remember, back in 2021, up until July and August, the reason hindi tumakbo si Sara Duterte was because parang plano ni Digong is
Ah,
si Bongo na lang. But back then, Bongo was very weak to have his own leg, di ba?
yes.
Puting. So what happened is eventually, nagkakagulo na, and then Sara decided to just team up with BBM. So actually, may hidwaan talaga yung dalawa na yan. And for me, it's interesting to watch what will happen if they're gonna close ranks and whether those tensions within the house of Duterte will be exposed in the coming days. So I don't want to pattle that rumors and all, but what I can say is that it's an open secret that Sara Duterte and Bongo are not on the best terms. And now the question is, who is really the #2? While Duterte
Mm,
likely, almost certainly spend the rest of his life thousands of miles away from the Philippines.
yeah. And I think when you look at it that way, I really believe you're right na parang may nga they're trying to field and find out kung sino sa dalawang to ang mas matunog, and this Senate race is going to be something that they're going to be looking at in terms of numbers para malaman nila kung nga if Sara decides to run or Bongo is the one they're going to convince to run at this point. And he could be like a dark horse. 'Di ba? Kasi kung tutusin si Bongo, hindi mo pa naman narinig nagmura, hindi mo pa nakita yung ugali tulad ng mga Duterte, at saka yung pinagmamalaki nga sa kanya, yung malasakit center. So, he has a cleaner image. Tapos especially with that Domino's Pizza pa na pinapakain daw niya si Duterte, di ba? So, kung tinignan mo, pwedeng mangyari talaga yun eh. Because honestly, I think Sara sunog na rin siya eh, kung tutuusin eh. Medyo bumaba talaga yung stock niya because of all her antics. And kahit naman sumusuporta ka kay Duterte, mahirap talaga tanggapin yung makita mo na nagme-meltdown ng isang tao ng ganyan sa gitna ng gabi. Tapos nagbabanta sa buhay ng presidente. Ang hirap depensahan niya. Napansin mo, yung troll army, hindi man lang sumagot na doon, parang pinabayaan na lang nila at sana mamatay na lang yung issue. Yun ang ginawa nila kasi hindi mo madepensahan talaga yun eh. Kaya tingin ko talaga ngayon, they're looking at alternatives and definitely, Bongo is an alternative and that's something that we do have to watch out for at this point.
No, that's a very important point. Notice, so I saw the footage of Gretchen Ho, hinahabol niya sila Harry Roque, and notice ko, Harry Roque was with Sara Duterte and Robin Hood Padilla. Because remember, the plan is Sara and Robin Hood Padilla will run in 2020 together, or Robin Hood Padilla will run for the presidency if hindi si Sara Duterte, since he topped the Senate race. So if Bongo tops this Senate race, he will make the case, you all rally behind me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So people don't understand this thing. Kasi ako, I had to write a book on these things and all that. Point by point, nakita ko may tension talaga dito eh. And it matters. Robin Hood wants to be at least VP of Sara, if not the next in line. Nag-top na siya ng Senate race. Meron siyang bragging rights. Although I don't know how much of that is left after his performance, dismal performance over the past 2 years. And then there is also, of course, Bongo doing very well. So very interesting to see how Bongo is going to navigate this and maintain. Kasi one reason Bongo is doing very well is because hindi siya sa, he's out of the ring, right? He's not taking on in any controversial issues. Sobrang ingat siya, di ba? All the heat is on Sara, Bato, Amy, I don't know, right?
You know, it's funny na binanggit mo si Amy Marcos nga eh na, teka lang, ano ba? Saan ba siya kalyado? Nakapagtataka talaga itong babaeng to, no? Na dinamay mo siya at sinama mo siya
Karen.
Oo, parang Duterte side o kaya BBM side siya. Hindi mo talaga alam. Kaya pinagtawanan na nga yan ni
Karen siya.
Panelo eh.
Oh, bro, Karen siya. You know
Yes.
Karen? Yeah, Karen's like, I'm better than my brother. I should have been. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to get into family feud. Medyo, let's talk about Harry Roque. Biglang lumitaw si Harry Roque out of his hiding. I don't know, Dubai, Macau, whatever. Alam mo, nakakatuwa. I was talking to Attorney Dino, my good friend from Debate Society days. Sabi niya, naku po, paano kung biglang may warrant of arrest kay Harry Roque from the Philippines for extradition while he's trying to defend I mean, imagine the situation, like, nagmamaganda si Harry Roque, for president, blah, 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 and then biglang, we have to stop the procedure, the police is waiting at the door.
At andyan na siya sa ICC, kaya mabilis na.
That would be classic na inarestuhan yung defense lawyer ni Digong. I mean, I hope Duterte finds a better person kasi si Harry maraming sabit yan eh. The case is mabigat ha. I had General Torre on this show openly saying, yeah, you know, we will go after Harry, hindi lang Quadcom yung show cause order lang ang issue dito. So, you saw Torre. Si Torre, 2-0 na. Kibuloy down, Duterte down. If you're just Harry Roque, you're easy fish for Torre. All right?
Absolutely.
So Harry has to be careful.
Yeah, because he, not just, so the Harry Roque has problems kasi nga, a lot of cases here, easily with what the Philippines did for Interpol is now reciprocated by Interpol and especially sa Hague. Mabilis yan eh. Talagang he's in, he has to be very careful kasi sa totoo lang, tingin ko talaga mababalik yan dito from The Hague papuntang Pilipinas at the rate he's going.
Exchange program. Like, we give Duterte to Hague, Hague gives us Harry Roque. That would be a nice bargain, no?
Yeah, I don't mind. And you know what? Harry does have to come back and face the music. Marami siya talagang hinaharap na kaso ngayon, especially with all the anomalies when he was here.
Trafficking cases, medyo serious yata yung ibang charges eh from allegedly, 'di ba? Pero I mean, the music magaling naman siya magsayaw, 'di ba? Den. Ay sayo ni Harry Roque, Harry eh. Now, let's talk about the other man of the hour, Bato de la Rosa. Nasaan na siya? Puro mga boses niya parang nakatago na siya. Nakita mo yung nag-trending ba yan? Sino yan sa ANC? Si Carmina?
Yes.
Sabi niya, Nasaan ka ba? Nasaan po kayo ngayon? Bakit? Hindi na sa Philippines, ba't mo tinatanong? Hindi, andito pa kayo. Oh, bakit? Ba't ba? Mag-interview ba ako? Wala ko sa...
Man,
I
Bato
was
de la
like,
Rosa is
oh my God,
losing
that
it.
guy. Pero naalala mo yung sinabi na kay Trillanes ko, I had said to Trillanes on here, di ba? Remember yung hinamon niya si Trillanes?
Yep.
Make my day! Make my day! Arrest me, Trillanes! Sabi niya gano'n, di ba? Nga ka dyan, di ba? O, ngayon, wala na. Nakita mo yung mga memes, bro, yung sa ano, yung nagtatago na sa grass. Yung unti-unting.
Yep. That was funny. Pare, alam mo, the problem kasi ito na nga eh. Nakikita na nga natin sa yung mga tulad ni Bato, ni na Duterte na talagang duwag talaga yung mga yan eh. Kaya nga, mas nabibilib talaga ako sa mga kagaya ni na Manay Laila de Lima because sila humarap. Hindi sila natakot. Malala yung dinaanan nila. Ito nga, swerte nga sa totoo lang ni na Duterte at ni Bato. Nakita mo ba yung kulungan sa Hague? Hindi nga kulungan yun. Mukhang senior citizens home eh.
Actually, maganda. First world.
No, 'di ba? Like that they have all the luxuries. You have 3 meals a day. They have a recreational center. Meron silang bintana, may CR, may TV, may internet, may library. It's literally a senior citizen's home. It's better than yung mga tirahan ng ating karamihan ng mga ating kababayan nga eh. At yung mga nasa kulungan dito, mas malala pa yun eh. Kaya nga, nagtataka ako kay Bato de la Rosa kung ano yung mga pinagdadrama niya. Alam nyo, kadamay siya dito, humarap na kasi siya. Ano,
Well,
kaysa pahirapan pa niya sarili niya, no?
I mean, brother, I've been in The Hague. It's very boring. I wouldn't mind seeing a Bato School of Arts and Drama in The Hague to make the place a little bit more interesting. Oh my God! Imagine if Bato is there, tapos magda-drama siya, tapos poker face speaking in French, yung mga tao, excusez monsieur, les justices, ang constitution, tapos si Bato, make my day! Like, ganun siya. I mean, bro, hindi ba surreal to? Oh my God. I mean, this is crazy. I'm watching Digong there.
Yep.
Talaga, shell shock sila, no? I don't think nagsisink in sa kanila what's happening, no? He
Yep.
bought his own propaganda. He thought he's really invincible, no?
Yes. And right now lumalabas ka sa mga propaganda ng Duterte supporters na parang ano nangyari kay Digong, kay tatay, na dinrug ba siya? Bakit parang bangag siya? Well, alam mo, pag tinignan mo talaga, siguro, para sa akin lang ano yan jet lag yan. Kasi nga, di ba?
Actually,
At saka,
totoo yan. Jet lag yan.
tingin ko talaga jet lag yan eh. At saka talagang Duterte is 79 years old. Okay? He's an old man kaya hirap talaga yan, inaantok talaga yan at isipin mo wala kang ginagawa buong araw, nakatunganga ka lang, nakakabato. Yung ganang sitwasyon. Kaya kaya sa akin, I mean, he's gonna have to learn to live with that situation for now. Lucky, he's still lucky if you think about it. At sa mga sumusuporta kay Duterte, paalala lang sa inyong lahat, ito po ay nabigay sa kanya ay due process compared sa ating mga kababayan na hindi nakakuha nun. Yun lang yun talaga. Kaya sana talaga shut up na lang yung mga yun. Pero of course, syempre, pupush nila yung agenda na yan hanggang maniwala yung mga tao sa kasinungalingan nila, di ba?
Let's talk about that, bro. Kasi obviously, shell shock sila. Obviously, lumabas yung pagka-amateur hour nila. Di ba? It caught up with them, di ba? Masyado silang believe sa sarili nila para purong mga JV team sila from Panelo to I mean the whole the whole circus, di ba? But now their plan B, and I think here they're not doing too bad, is create all of this image on. I mean, Australia issued like some travel advisor to the Philippines. What the heck? Who the heck is their security advisor? Naniwala sila sa DDS, people power, I mean, what the heck? Who are these? Who is in the Australian embassy but issuing this travel? Alam mo, I was with other ambassadors of other countries. I won't say anything. They were all like face palm sila. Like, what the heck is Australia up to? Sino bang mga consultant nila? There's some really, really people who are buying into these people. But anyway, online, it's wild, brother. Hindi lang yung ginawa sa akin, ha? Talagang, actually, may magsabi, buti nga, Richard, ikaw ang bugbog sarado dahil it took away the resources from Torre and other people. So they were able, yeah, bro. Siyempre, limitado pa rin yung, grabe yung bugbog sa akin, 3 days na inoperate talaga nila ako. So, that spread their effort kasi Torre talaga yung target nila eh. Si
Yeah.
Torre, the President BBM, among other things. And wait, by the way, let me talk about President BBM. Last part kasi yung victims, yung pinaka-importante. What do you think about BBM? Did we underestimate him? Was he smarter than we thought, or at least he got the smart guys to do it after all? And then what do you think of his press conference the day after, which I don't think impressed too many people?
Yeah. Honestly, for me, maganda na nga yung ginagawa niya that he says as little as possible and just addresses everything directly. And para, less mistakes when you just, answer as succinctly yung maikling mga sagot lang as possible. Number one. Number two, maganda din na si Yusek Castro, si Attorney Claire Castro, yung mga bumabanat ng yung mga ganyang pagbabanat. At saka tama talaga na mas maraming ginagawang press con ang Malacanang. That is very smart and very strategic. Unfortunately nga, they have to go beyond just the press con. They have to make sure that this is seeded in social media and amplified. If they have a troll army, amplify mo yan sa troll army mo. Hindi ko alam kung may troll army sila eh. Pero dapat i-amplify yung mga ganyang mga perspectives and mga views to combat what's out there. As a matter of fact, dadagdag ko lang, Richard, that in the comment section right now, may nagsasabi nga na meron daw napanood yung isa sa kanila na TikTok na parang pinalalabas, nakakampi daw ako ng Duterte. Nakakampi ako daw kakampi ng mga Duterte. Tinatanong ngayon kung saan ako pumapanig. I think it's very
What?
clear saan ako pumapanig eh. So I don't know kung ano ba yung mga fake news na yan, and I haven't seen it because I don't normally scroll through a lot of TikTok, pero para klaro lang talaga, I've never been for Duterte because of who he is and what he did. Ngayon, you could change the name. Para sa akin, anyone that did what he did, I'm against. Like you said, Richard, pareho tayo dito, nagkakasundo tayo. Anyone that commits heinous crimes, murder, okay, mass murder, at yung pag-aabuso, at yung corruption, lahat-lahat yon is not in my, I will never side with anyone like that. Yun lang yon. So, yung, sorry, anyway, I had to go back to that because,
No,
di ba
please
nga
go ahead,
yung,
bro. Please go ahead. No, that's important. Mention. Go ahead,
yeah,
please.
kasi right now, bro, ang problema talaga, ang daming fake news na lumalabas, and they're really trying to overwhelm people with all these different narratives. Attacking you. Apparently nga, may nag-create nga ng fake TikTok na sinasabi na kampi daw ko ng mga Duterte, o kaya lumalabas na fake daw yung drug war. Ay, sorry, fake daw yung mga 30,000 na namatay. Ang daming nilalabas eh. So, it's good talaga that BBM is doing, and he has to do more of this. And if it means that it's his people talking, that's also good. Mas maganda kasi kung mas marami sila nagsasalita because you're spreading the information amongst more people. This builds on your case and credibility. I love the fact that John Vic Remulla is very eloquent, articulate, and is able to explain properly what happened. And he doesn't mince his words when he said nga na bakit kayo humingi kayo ng hustisya para sa isang tao pero hindi kayo humingi ng hustisya para do sa 30,000 na biktima. Oh, yun galing ng pagkasabi niya nun eh. Bakit umiiyak kayo ngayon para sa isa na meron naman due process?
Can I say
Pero
something about that, bro? Can I say
yeah,
something about that? The government has a credibility problem because the way it comes off is this was a political calculation. Year after year, sabi ni Marcos, he doesn't accept the jurisdiction of this. Year after year, sinabi ng DOJ, they're not gonna cooperate, and then ngayon biglang ganun. They got a credibility problem, my friend. That is why mahalaga na magsalita yung mga tao na totoong genuine opposition at talagang involved dito. I'm very glad Senator De Lima, Senator Trillanes, who have been through and through, in terms of pushing for justice, standing up to Duterte, speaking out. But more have to come out. If your name is Aquino, come out and say something about this. Because isn't the Aquino name also about democracy and human rights, no? If you're opposition, you're running on, sige, I'm gonna make more enemies. Diba? Persona non grata na rin siguro ako sa ibang Christmas party soon. No, but I'm gonna say it. Come out. Speak out.
yep.
This is it. This is the time. This is history. Speaking of history, you have people like Raul Pangalangan who just retired recently from ICC. Of course, legacy years na ito, his retirement. I'm sure he doesn't want to get into stress. But he came out kanina, and let me just show a clip of his explanation. Bakit hindi rendition at kidnapping ang nangyari? And this is actually whatever is happening has precedence from Adolf Eichmann's case to Alvarez Machain's case and Dominic Onowen's case, which he oversaw himself. Ito mga to talaga dinukot sila, dinala. Like really, that like beasts on the run, right? That's how it happens if you're an international criminal. So just please listen to this for the purpose of education, because no one has higher level of expertise on ICC than a former judge of ICC who only has a PhD in Harvard Law naman.
He will be asked how he pleads to these charges. Okay, that's the second difference. Now let me proceed to the rather
important,
one of the most contentious issues the past 2 days, the legality of the arrest.
Legality of the arrest. Yeah.
Let us start from a fundamental principle. The ICC does not allow trials in absentia. So the presence of the accused is indispensable to the procedure in the ICC. And the warrant of arrest is the mechanism by which that presence is ensured. So we must interpret these rules in the context of that imperative, an imperative which is actually not just for the benefit of the accused, that he should be present when he is tried by a court, but also indispensable to the integrity of the proceedings before the court. Look at the history of international.
Yeah, ito yung precedence, brother. Very important.
The biggest cases in this field have not inquired into the legality of the manner by which the accused is brought before the tribunal, the manner by which the court acquires jurisdiction over the person of the accused. We begin with Adolf Eichmann, the Nazi who was basically kidnapped from Latin America, brought
Eichmann's case
to Israel to be tried for the crimes committed in World War II. The court basically said, look, we have jurisdiction over the crime charge, that is material jurisdiction. We have jurisdiction over the person of the accused as personal jurisdiction. He was there physically, and we proceed with the case. That's Adolf Eichmann. That was actually more recently affirmed in an American case by the U.S. Supreme Court, U.S. versus Alvarez Machain. He was a Mexican doctor who was implicated in the torture of American DEA agents. And, well, he was basically kidnapped from Mexico and brought to the U.S. for trial, went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And the U.S. Supreme Court says, well, we won't inquire into the manner by which he was brought into the jurisdiction of the court. We will proceed to give him a fair trial with all the guarantees. But the court did not inquire as to what happened before the
arrest,
before the person appeared before it. But let me deal with you with a case I personally sat, in which I personally sat as judge.
In Uganda,
the case of Dominic Ongo, a rebel commander in Uganda. Tried by the court, convicted. I sat as a member of that trial chamber, and so I sat in the trial chamber. But if you look at the record of the pre-trial chamber, which is the stage, as explained earlier by Mike, but at the pre-trial chamber, there was a question about how the court acquired jurisdiction over Ongoen. You see, he was actually captured by the wording was by troops of the Central African Republic in cooperation with the U.S. Armed Forces. Well, stated plainly, he was captured and brought in a U.S. helicopter. What did the court say? Notice, in that case, although when was brought to the court, he wasn't presented before any judicial proceeding whether it was in the Central African Republic or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, nothing of that sort. He was simply hauled off into the helicopter, brought to the ICC. What did the pretrial chamber say? I will read.
Ito, important yun,
the rules on the proceedings to be met by the custodial state, meaning the state that arrested him. These rules do not in themselves create a duty of the surrendering state to undertake any particular process upon the arrest of the person. And and toward the end, the court said, in validating the arrest, said to do otherwise is a disincentive to constructive cooperation between the court and the state, to the detriment of the interests of the ICC itself. So notice the the stance of the court confronts a very practical need. You see, the wheels of justice won't move forward unless the person is within the jurisdiction of the court. The arrest is indispensable to that. And that is why the court in this case did not look into the circumstances by which the person was arrested. If I may put another spin to it, notice that the wording of the rules, which are cited by I've followed some of the debates on the duties of the custodial state to present the arrested person before some authority, etc., etc. These are not rights of the accused. The rights of the accused are listed specifically in the Rome Statute. That is the right to the presumption of innocence, to be found guilty only with proof beyond reasonable doubt, the right to due process, the right to counsel of one's own choosing, the right to confront witnesses, the right to be informed of the charges in a language that he knows and understands well. These are all the rights of the accused. There is no such thing as a right of the accused to be presented before a domestic tribunal. If at all,
important yun,
it is actually a duty of the custodial state. But notice in this, when you read the statute, it is the duty of a member state. So for me, we then face the irony that those people invoking this provision are telling us that the Philippines is no longer a member of the Rome Statute.
Yun ang hindi pwede, yeah. Hindi pwede lalabas ka, tapos biglang ngayon i-invoke mo yan. Yeah, you cannot have it both ways.
Well, ironically, under the Rome Statute, Rome Statute itself. Let me proceed to the next of the contentious issues here, complementarity. You see, there is a fundamental transformation in the case at this stage. Notice, up until the stage of the preliminary examination and the stage of investigation, go to the website of the ICC. What is listed there? It is called The Situation in the Republic of the Philippines. That is, in fact, the title of our entire forum. At this stage, we already have an accused. So very soon as we have the initial hearing tomorrow, and the confirmation of charges hearings is scheduled, you will have a new item in that website. It will be called Prosecutor versus Rodrigo Roa Duterte. In other words, the proceeding has morphed into the investigation of a situation in a country, which made the Philippines a situation country in the jargon of the court, into a proceeding against an individual who is now charged of a specific crime.
Last part na yun, bro, sa complementarity. Jurisdiction kasi yan, very important.
What is the effect of this transformation on the doctrine of complementarity? The principle stands. The principle is intact. The Philippines should have the first shot at prosecuting the offense. That is the fundamental rule.
Yeah, except
in the ICC.
hindi ginawa ng justice system nating trabaho niya.
Notice,
Notice,
When
exactly.
we're still just a situation country, the debate on complementarity, the basic argument is of those who object to the ICC is like, hey, ICC, don't get into this, don't investigate the Philippines. There are problems here. We are investigating them. We are acting upon them. We are trying these cases. Stay out of it. We have exercised our national prerogative to try these cases. That's the argument. And therefore, to support that argument, they should prove that they are investigating the cases.
Except,
You can go by the record of 6,000, which is the number used in the ICC documents. You can go by the higher documents, by the higher numbers raised in other documents. Okay. But they should show then that there are many cases that have been investigated, trials that have been conducted, and hopefully convictions that have been that have resulted from these cases. That is for the situation country stage. But now we have an actual accused.
Last part na to, bro.
At times it becomes very simple.
Exactly.
He can say that, hey, court, ICC, you can't try me. I'm already being tried by another, by a court in my country.
Except not.
So you can't try me all over again. You have to defer to the trial in my country. Well, I think the fact is, as we all know, there is no such case.
Okay. So anyway, I encourage people to go through it. But bro, I think we laid it out pretty well, diba? Yung precedents, including cases that he handled at the ICC not long ago. Actually, if you look at a lot of these warlords or international criminals, none of them, like, they just went, hand in hand in cup, please take me in, right? A lot of them were hunted down, right? Literally, some of them kung san-san, and I want to be careful about saying something, baka naman sasabihin nila sapsara. But do you get what I'm saying? From the case to Eichmann was taken out of, was it Argentina or Chile, and taken to Israel to face crimes for his involvement in the Holocaust. And then, of course, you have even in the case of narcos-related doctors taken to the U.S. So it's absolutely clear. When it comes to the ICC, you're a war criminal, you're going to be hunted down, and you're going to be brought in. And in the case of the Philippines, lumabas na tayo sa ICC. So it's quite hypocritical for the Duterte people to suddenly cite ICC as a way to try to find a way out. And then at the same time, not also coming up with any evidence that our courts are doing anything about this. They're not going after Duterte. They're not going after Bato. Thousands and thousands na namatay. We have no active cases against them. Last time I checked, only the Kian de los Santos case and a few others because of the public outcry and all. So in short, our judicial system failed big time. And this is where my proposal is very simple. BBM should push for the Congress, whether the outgoing Congress or the 20th Congress, dapat nasa zona niyan, to rejoin the International Criminal Court as a responsible country. B, he should push for, as legislation, as a matter of legislation, some sort of a Truth or Justice Commission kung saan, katulad ng Quadcom, pag-usapan talaga natin, ano ba itong mga kaso na sinasabi ng ICC? Ilabas na natin yung mga witnesses ulit. So essentially, Quadcom on steroids. And bring in also compensation issues, reconciliation with some of the police who are not so directly involved, but need some sort of security sector reform. So brother, yun ang proposal ko ngayon. So I hope people see where I'm coming from. There's a very, very strong legal argument in favor of some decisive move. And I hope in the coming days with Ruben Carranza and other experts will talk about transitional justice. So malaking issue yan. I want to ask you, brother, do you think we have done enough to make the victim's voice, direct voice, to be heard? Not what Patricia Evangelista wrote or some of the great writers wrote, but what their own voice, yung totoong boses nila mismo. Parang hindi po kulang talaga eh.
Yeah. Well, alam mo, for me, the Quadcom did an excellent job in terms of being able to bring voices to and faces to the victims. That was really, really well done. Pero like you said, kulang pa nga. And as a matter of fact, I'm hoping that on social media, maybe I will do it or you should do it, na parang, can we please post all the names of the victims here on this thread para lang maalala ng mga tao na ito ang mga pinaglalaban natin. Kasi ang nakaka-frustrate talaga pag nakita mo yung mga post ng mga Duterte supporters is nakakalimutan nila yung mga biktima, yung mga inosente. At palagi nila sinasabi Na ano gusto nyo, mapatay ka, sino mapatay? Yung kamag-anak mo ba o yung drug addict? Hindi nga lahat drug addict, yun nga ang problema natin. Alam mo,
Pero
kung
dapat
lahat
patay
lang
ba,
yan
bro?
drug
I mean, is
addict,
it okay to just kill people because they're drug addict? I mean, what kind of system is that? What are we like?
exactly, yun na nga, mawala na tayo. Basically, they want the law of they want lawlessness. That's what they want. And kung gusto nga nila ng death penalty, di magkaroon tayo ng death penalty pero kailangan pa rin ng due process. Bottom line, that's it. That's all we're saying. As a matter of fact, the daughter nga of Duterte, Kitty Duterte, has now come out na talagang drug addict pala din tong anak niya eh. So, pwede bang patayin na rin siya? Yung ba gusto nila? O, then, ito na naman tayo sa selective justice nila. Hindi pwede. Anak ni Duterte. Silent na naman sila dito. Pero everyone else dapat patayin. Ano na yan? Si Baste, di ba? I mean, Baste there's videos of Baste before na he was so high on whatever na lumalabas dyan. And at the end of the day, mismo yung mga Duterte are hypocrites because of the fact that yung pamilya nila are also doing drugs. Duterte himself is on fentanyl. Oh, and fentanyl is a banned substance nga, di ba? Right now in the States, galit na galit kasi Trump dun, di ba? So, all this hypocrisy is just ibang level to nakikita ko right now eh. That's why the ICC is needed at the end of the day. I like what we just heard from the recording because pag tinignan mo yan, the reality is this: willing and able, our judicial system. They're not willing, they're not able, and even if a case was filed, chances are because of how broken the system is, you're not gonna get a conviction. No way. May nakita ka na bang nakulong talaga dito na politika? Ha? Meron akong nakita
Meron,
nangyari.
tapos
Na
binalik
pardon.
ulit. Meron, tapos na pardon ulit, tumakbo pang presidente, munting nanalo ng 2010. I
Oh,
think
di
he
ba?
was number 2 after Aquino in 2010 elections, Erap Estrada. He became president almost. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the kind of broken system we have.
Look at how many times we know for a fact na talagang may mga corruption na nangyari dito here and there, and yet they're still walking away, like free people. And not just that, they get elected again. Oh, may ilan nga dyan, di ba, nasa Senado ngayon. May iba pa naman. Siguro sa Kongreso ngayon. It's just, we do need the help, unfortunately. And that's the bottom line. Kaya nga, the ICC is the best way for justice for the victims and also for Duterte. Both are given a fair chance to say their case, to defend their case, and for us to find out sino ba talaga nagsasabi ng totoo dito at sino ba talaga ang guilty, at dito natin makikita yon.
I think one of the projects we have to do in the coming days and weeks and all, I know medyo sensitive and all. Actually, na-disappoint ako bro doon sa Quadcom when parang pinapagalitan nila yung mga biktima. Ba't ngayon lang kayo nagsalita? I felt very bad about that because first of all, I would say, bakit ngayon lang kayo nag-Quadcom? Why didn't you do it during... Actually, sila yung nag-fail. The Congress
Wait.
failed in terms of duty. Well, yeah. What was Abante doing, or I don't know, all of these guys were doing during the time of Digong? Were they standing up to Duterte? And by the way, these victims could have been killed. They were scared that they could be. There was active threat against them. Literally, if you're going to interview the victims now, make sure that General Torres behind you to protect you, para some scalawags, right, won't interfere. So I'm telling you the fact. A lot of victims were scared to come forward kasi yayariin sila. In that climate of complete chaos and lawlessness during the go.
Yeah. But if I remember correctly, was that the Quadcom ba na nasermonan pa yung mga victims? So yung sa Senate ba yun? Yung ginawa ni Bato de la Rosa
Sorry.
na nakahiya-hiya.
Okay, I stand corrected. If this was the Coco Pimentel one?
Yes. Coco
Okay, then
Pimentel was the
sorry,
one who lectured them.
I
And then
defer to
had
you.
Bato.
I defer to you. Sorry, I stand corrected.
Yeah, and 'di ba Bato de la Rosa was lecturing them pa. It was so shameful, kaya nga to si Coco Pimentel na napahiya siya sa ginawa niya. And look at it. Wala din naman pinuntahan yung Senate hearing na yun, di ba? Hindi na kasi sila nagkaroon ng part 2 dahil na-realize sila how much of a disaster it was. And then Coco Pimentel went on this, parang trying to PR campaign to try to clean up his image and improve his image because he really looked so bad in that Senate hearing. So yung Quadcom, they didn't do that. Yeah. So sa Quadcom, it was the victims had a great platform, and a lot of leeway was given to them. At sa totoo lang, that Quadcom, doon ako talaga naging emotional nung narinig ko yung mga kwento nung mga pamilya ng mga biktima. It was so gut-wrenching. And sa totoo lang, nakikita mo talaga doon gaano ka you know how unempathetic Duterte is and how wala na siyang emotion. Alam mo yung mga murders, di ba? Serial killers, murders, they all have this psychopathic
Psychopathic na walang empathy.
yeah, na wala na silang emotion. Walang-wala. They feel nothing. And because they feel nothing, they look for this urge to try to satisfy that urge to kill. At nagkaroon siya ng platform to do it on a mass level. Kaya doon nakakatakot itong mga tulad ni Duterte. At ang nakakatakot is how he can, with his charisma, was able to convince all these Filipinos na based on emotion lang, to not even think about the entire picture, the holistic view. Ano sila selective, and they look at it from a micro level Yun ang problema natin ngayon Kaya tayo nagkakaganito
I would say, going back again to where we started, and I want to end on this note, nakakalungkot sa akin how nawe-weaponize ng mga demagogues. Let's call them for what they are. This is the term that the Greeks were using. Kaya nga, Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, they didn't like democracy because they felt democracy could degrade fast into a mobocracy, mob rule, meaning demagogues, appealing to the basest instinct of people, yung hatreds, weaponization. Like, in my own little case of nakita ko how they twisted my words and they made it look like parang nalabas nila dito na lahat tayo from Manila, we are haters, we're elitists, we're out of touch, we're terrible people. Nakita ko even their choices of pictures of me, right? They use my most posh pictures, I don't next to a German car or whatever, or in a hotel, Manila house. Grabe yung ganun. This is black ops, weaponization to destroy anyone who disagrees with Duterte, to make it look as if Dutertes are the sons of Mindanao, they're the representation of Mindanao, and anything that's against Duterte is against all Mindanaoan people. Yung weaponization na yan, we have to do something about it. So that's why I actually felt bad na twist yung words ko, because I was precisely there to express sympathy. And I hope one day, as we move on from emotions and reactions and being led by this disinformation, mag-uusap-usap tayo, because we have to talk to our brothers from Mindanao, whether Davao or AR or Barm region among others. We have to work together so that hindi natin hayaan itong mga Duterte na to weaponize itong historical grievances for their own selfish political agenda. This is my disappointment. Kaya po laban ako ng laban dahil alam ko truth is on my side and my intention is good, and God willing, inshallah, I always say one day mamulat din yung ating mga kababayan na iba na hindi ito usapin ng North versus South. Usapin po ito ng hustisya, at wag natin sana hayaan itong mga warlords, trapos, kasi hindi lang Imperial Manila may kasalanan, bro, di ba? But yung mga trapos mismo, di ba? I'm sure Davao would do even better. Davao is great, but it would do even better if they had more leaders that were more like, I don't know, Carlo Nograles types, right? And who knows the data, who's modern, etc., than someone like Digong. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, how is Digong gonna run for mayor right now? Disqualify ba siya? If Basta wins vice president, automatically he'll be up. Well, there's a reason why Basta is not running for mayor anymore, right? So, what I'm saying is that I believe so much in Mindanao. I've seen so much beauty and potential and greatness. And I know we can do so much even better if we make sure the warlords, the trapos are no longer there, and the national government does better. That was my whole point. Kaya nasaktan talaga ako kasi they make me look the opposite of exactly what I am, brother. I mean, if you felt bad na pinakita kang DDS ka, imagine how bad I felt as someone who goes there on the ground. I was in Marawi after the war. I talked to communities there. I went to Jensen, Davao. I've been to Siargao. I've seen the diversity of Mindanao. So I was really personally hurt. Kaya when I hear people telling me, Richard, kalma ka lang, huwag ka na lang magsalita, like, you have no idea my emotions invested in this, because I do genuinely care for Mindanao. And I'll tell you what, I immediately texted Senator Zubiri and said, what is this all about, right? I immediately reached out to Mayor City of Isabela and said, what is this, ma'am? So immediately I responded, because I felt that was a huge injustice against me. But this is not about me. This is about weaponization of regionalism, unfortunately, in ways that is not good for democracy. And sana naman yung Australia, ayusin niyo naman yung mga security consultant nyo. Maybe you have to fire some people and hire some better people before issuing any travel advisor. Last one I want to ask you, bro, are you still worried na baka manggugulo sila? Because they're a cornered beast, right? I'm talking about the Duterte, basically the whole gang, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, especially right now, nakita na nga natin in the last couple of days how they're really trying to rally everyone, all of their supporters to come out. And if you're somewhere in between, they're gonna try to convince you na sumama na sa side nila. Ilang beses nga nakikita ko na nga on social media right now, pinapalabas nga nila na mga kakamping daw are now supporting Duterte, which is all
Well,
BS.
isn't that true? That some of them are so anti-Marcos that they're willing. I mean, how many of them are? No, honestly, this is a serious
Yeah.
discussion. Some of them are not talking as much as they should. I wonder if some of them are more interested in criticizing BBM right now than criticizing Duterte or supporting the ICC. I'm sorry, I have to spell this out.
Yeah, but Richard, you know what I think ganito yan eh. Then stay silent, that's fine. Versus speaking out, 'di ba? Kung sabihin natin they're more they have more hate towards the Marcoses than Duterte, then it's good that they're not speaking out then versus trying to speak out at this time. Really? Is that really helpful at this time? No, it's not. 'Di ba? Right now, it's time to be able to decide what is the immediate danger, the immediate present danger. And that are the Dutertes. Yun ang nakikita talaga naman. Yun ang obvious na threat talaga sa ating demokrasya sa ating bansa. At talaga dapat talaga, yun ang tingnan natin. Let's keep the eye on the ball. Now, for those like for example, what makes me wonder is now that I think about it, I haven't seen Bam Aquino say anything right now about this. Kiko Pangilinan, Risa Hontiveros, I don't know if she did or not. Parang I haven't seen anything. I've only seen Manay Leila.
Akbayan made the official statement, so that stands for Riza too. That's an official stance of Akbayan. Immediately they supported ICC as a
Okay,
matter.
good.
Yeah.
All right,
No.
that's good.
Risa is absolutely clear. Yeah, Risa is clear.
Okay, good. And I have to say pala that I haven't given much credit to Sonny Trillanes for all the work that he did because he is the spearhead of this talaga. He is the thorn on the Duterte's sides. At magaling tong si Sonny Trillanes and his dedication and his commitment to be able to get this far is unwavering. Yan ang isang talagang nakakabilib na Pilipino para sa akin ha. And hats off ako kay Sonny Trillanes. I have never met him, never spoken to him. I'd love to, pero right now I'm just telling everyone right now, Sonny Trillanes is the reason why we're here today. And I keep forgetting to give credit where credit is due, and that's to Sonny Trillanes. And we need more people like him talaga. Yung may pinaninindigan, hindi lang, at hindi nag-waver. Hindi siya balimbing ha. Kung ano siya, yan siya. Diretso siya. So that talaga, that is a big help for our country right now. At kaya nga nakakatawa na binibintang nila si BBM when in reality, kung mga DDS galit kayo, kay Trillanes kayo magalit. Kasi siya naman talaga yung may kagagawa nitong lahat, kung tutusin eh. Di ba? All BBM had to do was
I'll spell
enact
this
the
out,
law.
brother. Okay, this is how bad it is. Trillanes is being portrayed as basically pro-Marcos now by some of our friends. You and I are even being attacked as potentially being, you guys, ba't parang quiet kayo kay BBM and all? Parang ako naman, I'm very clear. I've written on this extensively in my columns and writings. I said, first of all, if you think one is Team Kadiliman, one is Team Kasamaan, first of all, you cannot take on both of them at the same time. So logically speaking, you sequence this, right? Second,
Yeah.
Dante's Inferno, there's the purgatory and then there's the 7th level of hell. Maybe sometimes you make a distinction between purgatory and 7th level of hell. That's my problem. I know many hate me because I can splash this in their face. All of this analysis from, we can go Gramsci about this, what of man and what of, because this is the truth, brother. Ang problema ko sa ibang mga kaibigan natin, they're so stuck within their own echo chamber. They never bother to go beyond it. They just want to stick to one line habang buhay. instead of helping this country to move in the right direction when big things like this are happening and there's an issue of urgency. Oh, go on and hate me for whatever, but I know in my heart I'm doing the right thing because I'm looking at the reality, I'm looking at the urgent threat while I'm also planning in my own little ways to contribute to long-term development of this country. Yes, kasamang Mindanao, Visayas, and all of this country, despite all the misinformation and disinformation against me. Konting hugot ulit, bro.
Okay lang yan, bro. Sa lahat ng dinaanan mo in the last few days, malala yun. At saka, ang nakakatakot talaga dito yung mga death threats eh. At nakita ko yung mga ibang death threats yan ha. That's serious stuff. And I hope you...
Oh, you haven't seen my messenger, bro. It's horrible. It's
Oh,
horrible.
I'm not surprised.
Death threats every second, bro.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because Richard, like as we speak right now, I just got a death threat as well eh.
Wow.
Nakakatawa itong
Baka
mga
naman
parang...
it's me. Baka nadamay ka lang. Sorry, bro.
Siguro, dahil nga nag-uusap tayo ngayon and they watch it and then suddenly they send me a message. Sa
Sabi
akin,
ko, Monday na lang tayo mag-usap kasi baka madamay ka.
hindi, okay lang yan, pare. Sa akin naman, we're doing this talaga as an education to be able to inform people and to open people's minds and hearts and eyes to the reality of the world. Ngayon, yung mga death threats, it doesn't really matter much to me, to be honest with you. I'm tempted to file a case against this guy nga eh. Kasi I'm like, gago to ah. Talagang tingin ba niya pwede siya makalusot ng ganyan?
Sabi ko,
Gusto ko i-post.
I'll have them hunted down like a dog, right? By the NBA and all if they really want to threaten me. I'm sorry to say this, but you don't go and threaten me like that, all right? I can have
Yeah.
General Torre to go after you guys if you want, right?
I really think you should eh. Kasi people should not be able to get away with this.
No, because my family are worried. My family in Baguio and all are saying come back home and all of that. And I
Yeah.
said, no, actually, we're in control of Manila last
Yeah.
time.
Eh,
But seriously, bro, grabe, nakakapikon. Sorry, I was a bit too strong in terms of my words, but bastos talaga sila. If you see, my God, if one day people go through the messages I'm getting every 1 hour, 10 death threats, right and left, pictures, whatever, like, so yeah, I hope, people realize na hindi ito joke. So I was very disappointed with the JC Punong Bayan types and all of these, bitter, butthurt people who were riding on this hate wagon, knowing I'm actually facing death threat here. This is, sabi ni JC Punong, natauhan daw ako, natutuwa daw siya. Parang, wow. I mean, what a low life. What a low life. Terrible people.
well, I hope that people not be so reactionary at have a little bit more compassion. Yun lang sa akin for everything. Yun lang naman at the end of the day. Let's just be a little bit more compassionate and more understanding of each other para sa ganun makapag-usap tayo na mas maayos. At please, let's leave the rhetoric, especially the violent rhetoric out of this. Yun lang ang sa akin. At sa mga sumusuporta kay Duterte, when you guys speak like that and nagmumura kayo at nagde-death threats kayo, man, that says more about you than it says about the people you're threatening. At sana talaga tuminutin na yung mga tao ngayon eh kasi we are at dangerous times right now and alam mo sobrang powder keg tong sitwasyon na sa Pilipinas. And at any time, this
the
could get
Australian
bad.
travel advisory. No, in fairness, per the intel I'm getting, on the ground naman wala masyado. But you're absolutely right. We shouldn't be also complacent and all of that. And again, my sincere apologies if I got a little bit emotional about this because my family is worried about me. I had my cousins calling me, bro, balik ka dito sa Baguio, diba? Subli ka dito awanan, kastoy. I said, no, don't worry about it. I've been through this, God willing, kaibigan lang naman natin ng mga General Torre types of this world, right? But having said that, I was really disappointed with some of the people who are supposed to know better, riding on this hate wagon and all of that, using me essentially as a way for them to project their own hate and issues and all, pettiness, pathetic. Having said that, bro, you're absolutely right. I hope, these difficult times we move forward from here. Literally, I want a future forward, move forward style of party in the Philippines, katulad ng Thailand, made up of younger generation folks who have more energy, who have more dynamism, and young includes you, brother. I mean, you're still young for us, right? And you look young, you're energetic. Mabuhay ka, Chris. Thank you so much for taking the risk of being with me and getting potentially canceled and persona non grata in beautiful Mindanao and all of that. Again, my sincere apologies if anyone inadvertently was hurt by, yes, clearly a misrepresentation of what I said. But having said that, of course, knowing the sensitivities and stereotypes and issues like that. We don't want to reinforce that. And I'll make sure in my international, national, local interviews whatsoever, I'll do my best. Iangat natin yung bandila ng Pilipinas, ng Mindanao, not only Solid North. But the last question I had with you, this is very important, bro, di ba? Ikaw yung nag-notice eh. Ako, Ilocano ako, I come from Baguio. Many of my relatives vote for Marcos. They're very pro-Marcos. I criticize Marcos a lot, through and through. You can look at all of my writings. But you know, I never got the kind of vicious attacks that I'm getting from the other side throughout the past 10 years. And maybe there's also a difference here, right? Again, I'm not trying to cast aspersions. Pero yun ang napansin kong difference na napansin mo rin, di ba? May trolls din yung Solid North side, BBM side, but never sila ganun na bastos na ide-death threat kanila 24/7. Yung press, look at BBM, he never, causes anything like that. Even si First Lady, kahit medyo sassy, she never says threatening things. Pero yung culture, it's very violent, bro. It's so crazy. Buti nga lalaki tayo. Otherwise, may rape threat pa siguro tayo. I mean, good luck with rape threatening me. Like, paano tayo dito? But serious, di ba? I mean, this is too much, bro. This is too much.
Yeah, it is. It is. And alam mo, maybe, I just remembered kasi nung panahon ng kampanya in 2022, even when some of the BBM, influencers were messaging me, they were messaging me politely, and we would have discussions politely, and they would invite me to do talks, to debate with them, and I don't mind that. And they were always maayos kausap. I haven't had naman people that were supporting BBM that were violent or nangiinsulto lang. Generally, but then again, I'm not saying naman all. Meron talagang mga trolls on all sides. Whether you're BBM, you're Duterte, even Dilawans, marami mga trolls dyan on all sides. I see it everywhere. I'm just saying lang na mas prevalent yan sa mga Duterte supporters. Yun lang ang nakikita ko talaga. But of course, on all parties, may mga ganun talaga tayo. And that's why I'm asking people lang na, guys, chill lang tayo ng konti. Kasi yung mga ganitong reactionary statements and attitude is not gonna help anyone's case. It's not gonna help any one of us listen to each other and be able to approach this with a more level-headed, and it's not going to help the progress of the Philippines. And Richard, on one final note on my end, na-appreciate ko talaga yung explanation mo. And not just that, more importantly, I appreciate the fact that you did apologize. And that takes a lot of humility, and to know that, oh nga, maybe I should have done better. And I give you credit for that, and thank you for that on behalf of all the viewers. It's very much appreciated, and I hope that we can lay this issue to rest and focus on the real problem, which is the Dutertes.
Absolutely, absolutely. But again, as I said, I cited those data just to show the injustice and the development gaps. But as I said, I'm sure because of the stereotype culture and marginalization, we have to be extra sensitive, extra sensitive. And believe me, I'm more than happy to be extra sensitive on this issue dahil mahal na mahal ko talagang Mindanao people and our friends and all. And thank you so much sa lahat ng mga kaibigan natin who stood by us, he understood us. And thank you, Chris, for making time, because I was thinking maybe hintayin na lang hanggang Monday once the news cycle. But this is Senyora ay nakisali dito, di ba? So kanina nag-post ako, hi from South Africa, tapos ang ganda ng pictures ng Africa, di ba? Cape Town, Johannesburg. Sutil din ako, di ba? But putting that aside, I love you, brother. Thank you so much for being a great brother. Amazing guy, wonderful guy, great people, amazing people. And maraming salamat sa ating followers. I'm glad to see so many people watching us right now, even if alam ko ang laki ng overlap natin. Probably we have a 90% overlap in terms of followers. But mukhang labanan ngayon, sino mas maraming Solid North supporter na. Kasi si Sir Ronald was saying, ang daming biglang Solid North ako na nagte-text sa akin na tuwan-tuwa daw sila sa interviews namin. So, wala akong alam dyan. Basta ako, I'm doing what I'm doing. And so all I'm saying, again, half joking, Solid North. I hope also one day, the day comes, now we no longer talk about Solid North, Solid South. I know I'm gonna sound like Barack Obama, not whites, not red states, not blue states, but the United States of America. Parang ganun din. Sana hindi na Solid North and Solid South, but solid Filipino. solid patriotism, and sana we can finally get over this dark chapter in the Philippines so that we can fight the real fight, which is everyday development, inflation, infrastructure, yung mga gut issues na talaga nakaka-apekto sa ating mga kaubayan. Mabuhay ka, Chris, and looking forward to catching up in person again. Text kita. Let's catch up soon. So if ever I don't go to The Hague in the coming days, I'll try to catch up in person. Otherwise, I'll see you afterwards because I'm hoping to do some documentary style also, looking at what's happening on the ground by talking to experts and all. Okay? Salamat, brother. Any final message?
No, that's it, man. Stay safe and mabuhay tayong lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas. All right?
Mabuhay, Shokran, and Ramadan Karim. Thank you very much to our brothers and sisters in Mindanao. God bless. Thank you, brother. That was very good. That was very, very good. Thank you so much. I hope you appreciate I brought the Pangalangan one. I know it's kind of mini lecture, but ang galing na explanation niya.